Welcome to Sex and the Solo Girl. Join your host, her inner circle, and expert guests weekly for chats about dating, secure attachment, the solo lifestyle, doing relationships differently, and of course, sex. And here's your host, Janice Formichella.
What are your sexual fantasies? Do you fantasize sexually? That is what we're going to be talking all about tonight, because I know that I do. In fact, I actually started when I was quite young, I would say. Something that we'll talk about, maybe just touch on today, is common fantasies, and that has to do with famous people. And I think one of the first things I ever fantasized about was I had the biggest crush on Macaulay Culkin when I was in like 5th and 6th grade.
I didn't know this.
I mean, he's the same age as me. Home Alone had come out. I just thought he was the cutest boy ever. And I wasn't like fantasizing about having sex with him. I was only 10 or 11, 12. But that's what I would like fantasize about, is like going and meeting him in real life. And like we had this day together. Yeah, anyway, so ever since then, I've liked using my imagination. And today I am joined by Kelsey, one of my best friends from the neighborhood here in Denver. Hello. We are two sexually empowered women who talk about everything together. And now we're going to now talk together and to the world. So hello.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back. Kelsey and I have done some cool content through the years. In fact, I just added to the website recently. We did a very well-received episode 2 years ago called Leaving an Unhealthy Relationship, which was one of the most downloaded episodes from Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On of the year. And go and listen. It's very raw. We each share the challenges of being in an unhealthy relationship and then getting yourself out of it. Kelsey did an amazing job of getting the fuck out as soon as she could. So I will link to that in the show notes. Then we proceeded to do an episode called Sex-Related Injuries.
Yes. All the hot sauce.
Oh my God. Let's just leave it at that. Yes, some hot sauce related stories. And that was with 2 of our other girlfriends. And then a while back, we also did Sex in the Outdoors, where we all told stories about having sex outside. And my own partner joined in to talk about some times that he and I had sex outside. So some fun content. And tonight, the 2 of us are talking about our sexual fantasies. Thank you for being here.
Yes. I got my candle lit and ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. You mentioned while we were warming up that you have a candle. So is this just to put you in the mood, or do you have a wax-related fantasy?
I mean, I definitely enjoy wax. If you ask my current partner right now, he would say that it has to have low heat, but I just like the texture of it. I'm not necessarily all about the burning sensation, but more just, the texture and like, so I'm still trying to figure out what kind of wax I want and need. I would honestly like it to turn into some kind of massage oil.
I'll show you again the candles that we have, because it's a very momentary sensation, and then it kind of drips all over your body, and they smell amazing. And then we are also at the end of our days. We both worked very long days today, and we're both having a little cocktail. So I am having a rosé. Because it is summer, I'm trying to have as many different rosés as possible, and I'm keeping track of every one that I try. And you know what? I am having a blast because I'm working a side gig at a wine department here in Denver. Shout out to Argonaut Liquors. And so I'm privy to lots of discounts and sales and hearing what people are liking. And this is the 3rd one I've had in a week. And it is the Wild Pig Syrah Rosé. And that's what I'm enjoying tonight. It's a lovely summer drink, I have to say. About you, Kels?
I love a good rosé. If you all could see the way that she looks right now, too, it like matches her lingerie.
Yes,
It's
and I am
perfect.
wearing lingerie. Kelsey has her candle. I am wearing some sexy lingerie. Lingerie is like suppose like kink, not really a fantasy. One of my fantasies though has to do with like a fairy nymph situation, and so I thought to put on something like kind of fairy flowy. And yes, that's what I'm wearing, and it does match the
Yes.
mosaic quite well.
Yes. It's also one of her favorite colors, too.
Yes, it's pink.
But I just have a whiskey ginger right now. So,
I like this.
yeah, a little bit of spice to it, I thought, with the ginger and yeah, give me
Cool.
some liquid courage to talk about these sexual fantasies.
I approve. Oh, I recorded an episode the other day on Mormon Girls Gone Bad. And we each, me and my friend Elena, drank an entire bottle, middle of the day. I'm like, not even sure it's going to be usable because we ended up talking for 4 hours. Yeah, but anyways, I'm full favor of drinking on the show, maybe to a fault. All right. I had a harder time researching this episode than I ever thought. Wow, that was really dramatic there. I started last week because thinking I'm gonna come upon like WebMD stuff, just like really good, solid on the internet information. I hardly found anything. I'm not sure what that was really about. The sources weren't that great. Things were really outdated. Maybe because it's considered pornographic or something. WebMD doesn't have a single passage that or entry that I've been able to find on just normal or not normal. We're not using that word. Common sexual fantasies. Then on the other side of things, I went to Google Scholar and tried to find studies on sexual fantasies, and those were just so in depth and boring that I didn't even find them usable. Even though I'm a big,
yeah,
I'm
like
a big
anatomical and everything.
It
Sure,
was
like medical.
Very, and also like
Yeah.
this is the sample size, and just going really, really, really deep into the demographics rather than the actual fantasies. And so of course I did resort to Wikipedia. However, I also went around the web, and we will talk today about maybe the top 10 ones that were very, very, very common. No one listening will probably be surprised. But before we share each our first sexual fantasy, I thought I'd read from Wikipedia. The scenarios for sexual fantasies vary greatly between individuals and are influenced by personal desires and experiences, and can range from the mundane to the bizarre. And this is true. I mean, a fantasy could just mean that you are fantasizing about having like loving, slow sex all the time, or the opposite. It doesn't have to be, something way out there. However, it could. One of mine, like I said, is like a nymph fairy situation. Fantasies are frequently used to escape real life sexual restraints, not restraints bondage wise, but how you might be holding yourself back sexually, and imagining this is funny, dangerous or illegal scenarios such as rape, castration, or kidnapping. I just thought I would throw this out there. And consensual non-consent is a top fantasy, and we will mention that today. However, I'm not equipped to really go into that in too much detail. Kelsey and I think we'll both talk about how we like being submissive and being and like some bondage in our sexual fantasies. But actual like rape fantasies, it is one of the top 10 every single place that I looked. They allow people to imagine themselves in roles they do not normally have, such as power, innocence, and guilt. I like the innocence aspect. Fantasies have enormous influence over sexual behavior and can be the sole cause of an orgasm. While there are several common themes in fantasies, any object or act can be eroticized. So that was a lot. Let's just start with Kelsey. What does a sexual fantasy mean to you? And then we'll start to share.
I think just like starting with a thought
Okay.
an idea. Like maybe it's something that I've seen, maybe it's something
Ooh,
that I
okay.
haven't. Or also mine are a lot like based on like emotions or like situation like
Ooh, I can't wait to
related.
hear.
So just like, yeah, just what's going on kind of in my heart and mind. And like that allows me to kind of read myself the best I can, you know, with having a
Mhm.
sexual fantasy. I feel like it like conjoins the two, if that makes sense, Janice. If
Sure.
like the heart, what my heart
Aw.
wants and what my mind has been thinking, and that I can lean into it and trust what my head's thinking. Because if you know me at all, of just, you know, I'm more of a feeler person.
Yeah, she
And
is. Yeah, she's a beautiful person who definitely leads with the heart.
so yeah, it just allows me to trust what comes from here first and then leads into an idea and a thought. And then
Mhm.
I guess viscerally with my body, you know, I guess we think of it sexual fantasies being related to what your body can do too. So
Maybe, though, I have to
potentially.
say, I'd really like to actually be a fairy with wings. Most of mine are more
Yes.
are more real life and possible than that. I think for me,
Yes.
what a sexual fantasy would be is something that I don't experience all of the
Yes.
time or ever or very often.
Right.
Some people will be aware that I have an inordinate amount of sex in my life. I'm like
Yes.
definitely a more
Yes.
than the average individual. And so I have lots of things that I fantasize about that I don't have on a regular basis. And so that's what mine are. And yeah, things that get me turned on, things that I just kind of think about, things that are sexual in nature, but not something that I can maybe expect to happen anytime that soon. Or some of them
Yes.
that I haven't at all. Not with my current partner, at least. Okay, so are you ready to share fantasy number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
So tell us, maybe what type, and then just tell us. All right, Kelsey, are you ready to share fantasy number 1?
Yes, I think so.
I will turn the floor over to you.
Yeah, I think what I want to start with is like a fantasy of like an era. So era,
Okay,
like
I have one of these too. Tell me everything.
ERA. Sorry,
Okay.
I just have a country accent, so I'm making sure.
It's
So
wonderful. It's delicious.
thank
We love your
you.
accent.
Thank
Kelsey's from
you.
Kentucky, actually, which is kind of cool.
I am, and I can have sexual fantasies even being from Kentucky that aren't incest related. Not that I'm clowning on that, but
yes, I have a number of people from Kentucky, so I think it's awesome.
No, so a fantasy that I literally was like thinking of today, because it's been a few years ago, I went to like a 1920s party. And, you know, I dressed up like as a flapper, all the things. And I've never thought of this, but it just like, I was doing a little bit of research myself today and I was just thinking over it. And I was like, yeah, I felt so good whenever I dressed up like and could be kind of someone else from a different time almost.
Ooh, Kels. Yes.
So, yeah, so what I would enjoy doing is probably wearing like one of those big like Victorian style dresses, or like Janice knows more about this. Like
well,
but I would definitely have like the girdle and like have everything going
a
for that.
corset, not a girdle.
Yes, corset. Excuse me.
Because corsets have laces, girdles, you just pull up. Oh my God, I'm loving this because this is one of mine as well.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
But I would want to live like as if we're living in like primitive kind of times, like kind of
like
pioneer kind of
okay.
days.
Mhm.
So like a log cabin with like wooden floors, like the wooden walls, everything in the woods. I would love for it to be raining. I kind of got a little like mud on my dress and wet on my hair, a little bit. I'm going into detail over here.
No, I'm loving this. You're a rustic frontier woman.
Yeah, I would say so. But it's like a long dress and everything. And then also my partner would also be dressed up as like someone from that time period too.
A mountain man.
But honestly though, I feel like it'd almost be like what is it? Like a shrew, or like almost dressed up like a Joker, kind like what are they like? Like it's like a very slim kind of pants and
like a court gesture.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So you're a frontier woman in what, the 19th or the 1900 or 1800s, the 19th century.
Yes.
You are a frontier woman and your partner's a court jester.
Yes. Like sneaking like away. And almost,
are you saying there's like an illicit component to this?
I feel like that would be fun, like sneaking away from like a carnival that like maybe I have like a little bit of money, and he doesn't. And like, yeah, it's just like kind of my secret.
Okay, you have to read Lady Chatterley's Lover. This is exactly what that book is about, and it was banned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I have an extra copy, because that is just what that book is about. This is hot. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just like lantern lights, just like little gas lights, and really dimly lit, and like I might start to maybe cook him something,
Okay.
like heat something up on the old stove, and then he's like slowly sliding up my dress behind me, and yeah, it's just raining outside, just really setting the feeling. And then like he's like, why don't you stop like working on the food and let me get these wet clothes, off of you, sort of thing. Let me get you comfortable. Yeah, again, you're going to hear elements of like my gentleness that I love. I love the feeling of just, being coddled and a little bit and taken care of. And so I think then, it leads possibly to the bath, but then I stop and I'm like, I want to, while I'm still a little dirty, like we're still like muddy a little bit. And yeah,
I'm loving life right now.
Yeah, I'm also like touching myself, as I'm describing it.
She's feeling it. I can almost hear the rain outside. Way to start things out, Kels. My era. Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for. I mean, this is going to be quite the chat if that's what you're starting with. My era related fantasy is more like maybe 16th century, like Queen Elizabeth. Also, I want to have the corset and the really, really, really big skirt with all the petticoats. And I always imagine, because I have dressed up a lot, I'm really into costumery and fashion history. And there's just something about the feeling of wearing this big, stiff, really, really, really full period related like garments, yes. Mm-hmm. And it makes you feel really regal, and the way you carry yourself changes. Mm-hmm. And so I sometimes just like kind of imagine myself walking, like up and down one of these enormous suitcases or staircases that you see in these castles, and just the feeling of the skirt kind of billowing and just looking really elegant, and maybe just going back up the stairs and being just like taken in a corner, not quite in this case as gently as Kelsey is describing, but I can actually imagine having, like the skirt lifted up from behind and being like
Yeah.
railed really hard while in kind of a dark corner of the castle while wearing one of these is more what I think of.
I'm also thinking of like the metal contraption piece that like busted out the bottom part of the dress. The crinoline.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like him having to or,
hold it up while he also
Yes.
bangs me.
or like working at it, you know, like and almost
Yes.
like getting
Like,
like
I
a
gotta have
slave
it.
kind of little bit, a little
Mhm.
sex slavey.
Because they are collapsible, these crinolines. And so you could kind of like throw it up and then kind of collapse it just enough so that you could get in there from behind.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a little pin. Mm.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm just bouncing off of what Kel said. The first fantasy that I was going to share is a little different. We have different themes between the two of us. And one of my kings, I suppose, though I don't do it often, is something I fantasize about is exhibitionism. And so one of the fantasies that I have does relate to my current partner. And Kelsey and I, in a minute, are going to talk about how fantasies can change over time depending on your relationship status or maybe your age, etc. So this does involve said partner. And so my kind of fantasy is that perhaps we're either at a party or a club, some type of situation where we know that there are people around and not like in nature or someone's house, like something that a little more intentional, I guess, in that regard. Like I said, maybe a swingers club or just a party where it's maybe understood that these things would be happening. And he is a big strapping man. And so I think about, and also well endowed. And I really enjoy providing oral sex.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
I've heard about the stories.
Yeah. Oh,
having to clean the couch. Sorry.
Clean the couch. You had to clean the bloody car when the four of us went on vacation last time. But yeah, no, I like to practice deep throating, and so my fantasy does have to do with deep throating. And I am picturing people kind of maybe on the outside, kind of on the perimeter of maybe a bed or a platform or something where I know that people are around, but it's not like I'm putting on a show. You know, we're just like in our own world and people are watching, maybe coming and going. And I do picture kind of being like taken by the hair and not being forced, but kind of held by the hair while I either deep throat or just give it. Because, you know, I have to say, it's not as easy to deep throat as I don't know if people think it's easy, but it is not. And it takes a mindset, it takes prep, all the things. But like being held by the hair while I really, really, really give it to him. And then people just being impressed, I suppose. One of my kinks is being adored and being, you know, told that I'm doing well. Yes. And then similarly, being taken by him from behind, also with my hair being held, and also with people being very impressed by what I can withstand. Is that the right word? Like really getting like fucked really, really, really hard from behind with my hair, and people just generally being, I don't know, impressed. Yeah. That is one of my top fantasies, is this exact scenario. It's dark outside. Like I said, people are watching. He is in complete control. And it's me giving and receiving things that are really intense. And
definitely. Yeah. I have one that's kind of related to yours too. Just us feeding off of each other right now. Of just, I also I've been complimented by my current partner of my blowjobs, and
Oral Sex Chronicles is coming up. Would he be willing to come on? Maybe this is what the four of us could do together, because we all are really into oral sex. Yeah, potentially. Okay, go on, my dear. I think so. I think it'd be interesting to hear about him going down on me versus me on him. And, but he could just talk about receiving. It doesn't have to all be go on. What is Mr. X, shall we say? What does said partner say? Yeah. So just
complimenting of just like my use of tongue. I can deep throat. I also agree with Janice of it's not kind of a spur of the moment. Like I've had people take the back of my head and kind of force it down, and I'm like,
oh no,
that hurts. My current partner is not that way. It's very very gentle in that way. Yeah. But no, similar of just allowing other people to see us while I'm giving him head as a form of like, I feel like that would make me feel really good, like showing off to other people, and they're like,
oh, Kels.
but
yeah,
like,
I don't think you've told me this.
also like my eye contact. So I'm just a very eye contact based person. Like I'll look up at my partner, see how he's feeling by his face. I love to hear like his breath. I love to hear, like his breathing and everything. And also just like where his eyes are going, if they're closed, if they're open. Like, and also like my eye contact with like other people as they're like around of just like approval in some way of like, you can't have me, he does, and he's only getting pleasured because he deserves this. He's put in the effort with our relationship. He's put in the love. He's put in the devotion. And it's something like you just can't like have of me, but like they're like fantasizing even themselves of me, them being the ones receiving it as well.
Because for me, I picture Chris like kind of with this whole you can't have or only I can have. In my mind, I'm not making eye contact with anyone. I'm like just focused on him, but he's the one who's kind of more aware of people. So this is interesting because you're a little the opposite.
Well, I'm giving my partner eye contact, but then I'm also like looking around for like approval and just kind of not even approval, I wouldn't say. Just like it's a fun, playful way of like looking around and like maybe a wink or two or like something like that like makes me feel, I don't know, the word I'm coming up with is foxy right now. Like it just makes me feel, just and I'm picturing it, I think probably a little bit like era related too, of just like the 70s, like go-go boots, like some shorts. Okay.
I just picture myself wearing something black and tight, but I like this. 70s era exhibitionism fantasy. That is specific and amazing.
Also go into like a 70s couch afterwards and people are just casually that we're watching coming around us, but we're just sitting there like, I don't know, smoking a cigarette or something inside and just
see, and I could see that after my fantasy too, of hanging out. Yes, also maybe having a cigarette and just kind of having this naughty secret and knowing people are thinking that in their mind. Like, and I mean, I don't know if this, okay, I was going to say, I don't know if this is okay to say, but to be honest, when I think about who would be watching us, I actually always think that certain people we know would be watching us. Like I think of people who I am either friends with or are aware of me, who are then like, dang, like, look at her go. I guess I hadn't thought to even mention this part, but I do. That's what I picture. Is people who know both of us, or maybe haven't seen my partner in that role, and so they're impressed with that, or didn't know that I was as much of a champ as I claim to be. And interesting.
And talking only goes so far, right? Like even with friends, like I don't know, I have that fantasy in my head too of just my friends actually seeing my capability. Like I'm not just sitting here talking a big game without like being about it.
Yes, and Kelsey and I talk to our friends about sex a lot. I think we're actually like the only people who really talk about it. And so wouldn't it be hilarious if then when at the end of the day, when it came down to it, it's like we weren't actually enthusiastic. We weren't actually having sex. We're like, no, we're what we claim.
We're like snoozers. No.
No. All right. Let's talk about things maybe changing over time. Some common ones. I'm going to just read one more passage from Wikipedia, And then, yeah, let's talk about this. We'll share more fantasies. We're going to talk about some common ones. The incidence of sexual fantasies is nearly universal. This was something when I read these studies that they really emphasized, was that everyone fantasizes, but they vary by gender, age, sexual orientation, and society. One thing that I read over and over and over again was similar to some other content that I've done. A lot of people think that men do things more than women. I mean, this is not really that relevant, but I did an episode on cheating recently. And a lot of people have it in their mind that men cheat more, and it's hardly any difference. And it also, I read that women fantasize sexually and have just as many fantasies as men, in some cases even more. However, because of our reliance on retrospective recall, as well as response bias and taboo, like what we admit, there is an inherent difficulty in measuring the frequency of types of fantasies. And maybe this is why when I went on to really get good information about what the top fantasies are, maybe it's just that hard to measure. In general, the most common fantasies for men and women are reliving an exciting sexual experience, imagining sex with a current partner, imagining sex with a different partner. Like, if you ask me, that's so boring. I feel like I might fall asleep right now. There is no consistent difference in the popularity of these three categories of fantasies. The next most common fantasies involve oral sex. I read everywhere that people fantasize about oral sex. We wanted to talk about how sexual fantasies can change over time. They're not necessarily to be acted upon. It can change depending, yes, on your relationship, on your age, perhaps. And Kelsey actually has some really unique insight into this. She is in a committed relationship and really wanted to share. I don't know, I guess I haven't thought as much about this personally, but how your fantasies can change, yeah, depending on who is in your life and maybe your relationship status. And I think also, I mean, I don't know if you even want to speak to this, but maybe even depending on the health of the relationship. Because I've been in very, very bad relationships, and I can say I was not necessarily fantasizing about them when I was with them. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so I guess starting out with being single, so I'll start out with the single side of things. Whenever I'm single, I've just found that I'm so much more willing to just fuck and just like
Okay.
check out and have
okay.
so much more of those like rougher fantasies, if I can say it in that frame of just like, I don't know, your common, or maybe it's not common, like fantasies in the shower and just like the being pinned up against the shower wall and just someone just going at it with you even. And by the way, ladies, water is not lubricant. Again, I know that is said so many times, but
yes,
just reiterating. But like just that rougher.
That's why we don't have sex in hot tubs necessarily. Is just because it's wet doesn't, or what goes up you, what you got in the hot tub is not necessarily what you want up inside of you. But
no, you don't want that chlorine shit up there.
Exactly.
Oh no, but yeah, I just fantasize of so much rougher times of like sexual play, sexual fantasies whenever I'm single. Not that that doesn't come up every now and again for me, being in a relationship, in a committed, stable relationship, but I just find myself being able to like not feel as committed, or I find myself a little more checked out. Like I'm able to kind of disassociate from my body whenever I'm single more than I am in a relationship. Like I just feel like I feel all the things in a relationship. And I think that comes with, mind, body, how I'm feeling, different
And especially because
situations.
you've got some NRE going on.
Definitely.
New
And
relationship energy is definitely where Kelsey and I both are. And that contributes a lot to what you fantasize about, I can imagine. Or
yes,
I know.
I brought this up to Janice because I thought it was just an interesting point that came across my mind today of just how I've kind of changed and evolved my thoughts and like fantasies. Like also I think like I used to be like cool and unique of having these sexual fantasies and being able to say them out loud and not being like ashamed or embarrassed by them. Then it just felt, at least in my single life, I was just very much at the surface. Like everything
Yeah, I
was
remember
just
one
very
time we were like
surface.
showing our friends some porn that we had each individually made for our partners. I don't even know if you had a partner at the time, but you had made some porn that you had on your phone. And I had made some porn for Chris. And we are like full on like showing it to people. And I think that has changed a little bit for you. But I think maybe it's not that wasn't who you are. I think just maybe you're in a different phase because of things right now.
Yeah, I feel like I wanted to be desired so much more maybe by other people because I didn't have that person, that connective piece that already made me feel like, of course, within ourselves, we need to feel desired and loved and all those things. But also, like having a partner that desires me and that fills up thy cup, already with having such desire towards me. Yeah, it's a new and beautiful feeling for me. Like I feel like if we would have had this podcast, Janice, probably I don't know, a year or two ago, I would have been kind of like,
even a year ago.
Just fuck me so
This
I don't
is
have any
so
feelings.
interesting because I'm not feeling this. I, have really, I think that partially part of my relationship with said man makes me desire bondage even more. And to show the world how much I'm desired, but also how much he is desired. And just, I don't know, like kind of putting his physical strength, I feel, is something that really turns me on, and like kind of showcasing that to the world and being like the object of that. But also like we said before, these are things that I'm thinking about that don't necessarily happen on a daily basis, whereas the like slow, connected, wonderful lovemaking is something that's on a very multi-daily basis. So, oh my God, I'm loving this. Would you like to explore some of the sexual fantasies that you and your partner have? Or would you like to share one of your fantasies with your partner? I just have to interrupt really quick to let you know about Aria. Aria is an intimacy concierge service that connects couples with experiences to spice things up in the bedroom, all with the help of a real life support person. It was so much fun to use their Love Life concierge. Aria's concierge helps introduce new play styles throughout the month through guided scenes and sends you elevated goodies for date night every month. I was absolutely knocked off my feet when I got an actual text message from someone from their team. No need to download an app, no heavy lifting on my part at all. I have seriously loved working with them. I'm so revved up about Aria right now. My concierge Leela was so much fun to work with, asking me what my partner and I were looking for to explore and sending resources, including guided videos, playlists, and erotica, while I waited for the items from my scene to arrive. Leela even kept me informed about the shipping status each step of the way. Leela picked out the impact scene box for me, and I was absolutely tickled pink when it arrived. My partner and I unwrapped it as part of our date night that week, and had so much fun. Please head to my YouTube to see the entire unboxing. In addition to the month of conversations with my concierge, the impact scene shipment included a beginning paddle, an advanced paddle, some sexy restraints, and some cute instructional cards. Needless to say, it was a date night I am still getting chills over. I cannot wait for my next Aria scene, and I am thrilled to be spreading the word about this unique service. I want all of my listeners to try it themselves. Go to the link at the top of the show notes, then make sure to come to my Instagram and send me a DM to let me know what you think. Mwah. So, what fantasy would you like to share next?
Thinking over, Janice,
Okay.
because those are my two powerful ones. So I already took those.
Okay, so what you have the
That
court gesture, and then
and
what
I-
was the other one?
And I also agreed with you with being out in public, possibly
Okay,
around
gotcha.
friends, giving
Okay.
oral sex. Yes.
Do you want me to share one of mine instead?
Yeah, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
So I will share another one of mine. It was really fun actually because I had to take a note over the last couple of days of things that I fantasize about, and the list was longer than I was expecting, and actually almost entirely involve him. I guess I have a little bit of a general one, and that is that I do have a sugar baby fantasy. I love being adored. I love being looked after. And I think I feel that like financial care is one of the strongest, one of the most outwardly ways that you can show a woman that you adore her. Of course, and obviously it needs to be in a healthy situation. I'm not going to go into all of the what about this, what about that. If a man truly wants to support you financially, your beauty treatments, your bills, I get physically, sexually turned on thinking about that. Like right now, I feel turned on in my chest thinking about being a sugar baby.
I see the redness in your chest too right now.
Honestly, this is a full-on fantasy of mine.
Yeah.
And so related to that, so that in and of itself, I just feel would just spark my days with so much sexual potency. One of my fantasies, sexual fantasies, involves this. So I feel so sheepish right now. My cheeks are all red and big. So I have
cute.
a fantasy where I'm a sugar baby or a looked after woman, and I'm taken to a big city on, a nice flight, bigger than Denver. We're talking New York, Chicago, San Francisco, maybe. And then I'm taken on like an all-day shopping spree. Just, lingerie, lots of boots, just like, anything I want, just shopping all over town, just kind of having the time of my life, getting just bags and bags and bags of stuff. Kelsey knows I like my things.
Yes.
And so, yes. And just like being looked after, looking like gorgeous as I'm being taken around town, shopping, just, like I said, just tons of bags of stuff. Like one of the images, that you see in so many movies of, the woman walking down the street with just like bags and bags all over, except my man is there also carrying lots of stuff. So it's just like this beautiful day, anything I want. And then we get back to the hotel and all of this stuff is like all over the bed and all over the bedroom. And I'm like trying things on and just like, especially with like boots and perfume and coats and stuff, I'd be like so giddy and just like, yay, look at all my things. And then, so I'm in a really, really, really good mood. And then I want to be like picked up and like fucked against the window of whatever hotel we're staying in so that potentially people could maybe see us.
Yeah.
So yes, at the end of the day, whether it's me, I guess it would be probably me against the window. just getting done.
This is
And-
what you get after I got you all these things and treated you so well. Yeah.
And then like I'm giving it back almost.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, I know you would give it back, Janice.
For
Yes.
sure. Yeah, it's not like I'm like, no, now you have to fuck me. And now it's like, yes, I'm gonna take you now after I've done,
Mhm.
after I've treated you to this day. Yeah, that's I mean, even right
Yeah.
now, I'm like pulling out my fan because this I feel very turned on right now. But yeah, that's another one of mine.
I love that. Because it's so true to you and what I know about you, of course. It also I relate to yours. I love that we're feeding off of each other right now because it's helping me kind of think through my thoughts, my fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I I watch reality TV here and there, of course, and I watched this show called Selling Sunset, and
Don't know it.
it's about like real estate in Los Angeles, and they make a whole lot of money. They get a whole lot of work done, all the things like the women are treated very well from their husbands and themselves, and like women empowerment. Anyway, there's all these things. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is like some of the houses, speaking of money and like riches and things that, can make you feel sexy and like or just add to it, right? Add to the pleasure areas there, and the horniness.
And the horniness. It's funny, you know what I have to say? I talk about my libido often with my friends. I very rarely, if ever, use the word horny.
Horny.
I just don't think it sounds very feminine. I don't think like I would never tell even my partner I'm so horny for you.
My libido is on fire.
Just say
baby.
I want you.
Yes. Speaking of
okay, I
which,
would also not say my libido is activated. I would put it in much cuter terms than that.
No, so just a little backstory. I grew up in the trailer park. I grew up in Kentucky, and I just have been so used to like smaller homes and just average size spaces. And I don't think I would ever own a mansion because I would want to do some of the like housework. I couldn't just have
It's
like
too much.
Yeah, it's just too much to upkeep for me. But ultimately, my fantasy would be some of these houses they sell on Selling Sunset that have that are in the Hollywood Hills
Okay.
that have these big windows, like just looking out at, the city,
Yes.
at
Oh,
nature,
yes.
at the hills, and like all this elaborate architecture. I picture just all open room. There's a pool right outside.
Yeah, the spaciousness and the tall, huge windows too.
Yes.
Wall-to-wall windows. Yeah.
Wall-to-wall windows,
Yeah,
and
that's
just
hot.
yeah. So I can agree with you, Janice, of like that fantasy of being like fucked up against that window, and it's just in this like gorgeous home that, yeah, like I couldn't afford. Like maybe we're at an open house and yeah, it's definitely nothing that we could afford, but almost like a Bonnie and Clyde kind of situation almost. Like
let's go in there and take a look.
yeah, like let's go take a look.
Have you have to be wearing a dress or a skirt?
Yes,
No panties,
definitely. I would, yeah, no panties. I kind of wear like hippie chic is what my partner says of attire. So like I'd have a long flowy kind of skirt, or dress that's all flowy hippie. My hair is all like long and just, I don't know. We just like have a day that we've like pampered ourselves and lived above our means in a way of just, yeah, like living just this like little fantasy life. And then, we're acting like we're going to buy this place. There probably is going to be someone else that's looking at the open house so that like we can distract the realtor from
Oh, this is
checking it
what?
out.
We can make this happen for the two of you. This
Yeah.
is possible. And see, mine would be like, this is just kind of like my everyday life. Especially because mine involves like going on a holiday. I like this. How can we figure out how to get you into an open house? Well, see, my partner and I could go, and then we could distract the realtor, and then you and your Mr. X go. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Wait, your guys' anniversary is coming up, what, in a couple months?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, you're so right.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, tell Christine we could join her in LA. I could get my fantasy of the Hollywood Hills, like open house.
Okay. All right. I'm taking note. I'm making notes. And then speaking of fulfilled fantasies, I don't know. Should I talk about the spanking?
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking
not?
of fulfilled fantasies, something that I had wanted for a while was to have a group paddling, not a group spanking, a group paddling. And I, after getting closer with my partner and many of my friends, and with my birthday coming up, I just had this idea in my head of everybody kind of standing around and paddling me, and I just couldn't, get it out of my head. It was just something that I wasn't obsessed about, but something I just wanted to have happen. And so multiple times I spoke with my partner about what would he think about orchestrating something like this for me. And at my birthday party a couple of months ago, we had a group paddling that Chris did oversee. So what happened was, at a certain point in the evening, I went upstairs with him, and I had put a really, really cute princessy fairy fluffy white dress on, and then came downstairs. And basically, I mean, I have to be honest, Kels, like pretty much everything that I wanted happened. I was put like kind of bent over an armchair with my ass facing everybody. I was wearing a thong. I don't know if that matters or not, but
It just makes it sexier.
Yes, I had a pink thong on, and Chris was standing to the side of me, and he, told everybody that we could take turns. Anybody who wanted to could go. And he paddled me a couple of times, and then he just said, like, who wants to go? And I think that almost everyone went. One of the things that I wanted, and that happened, was that because I'm faced away from everyone, but with just my ass up, I didn't really know who was going when. I could hear people getting into it. I could hear people saying, I want to go, I want to take a turn. I could sometimes tell based on people's voices who were going, or who was going. But other than that, I just got paddled by a bunch of my closest friends. So I had a couple male friends who were there who had never done anything like that before, who got really, really into it. One of my best male friends, Adam, paddled the hell out of my ass. And remember, it was just like so cathartic. It was so much fun. It was, fantasy fulfilled. Okay. Well, we talked a lot about my fantasies. Do you have another one that you'd like to share with us?
A fantasy that I have is, so honestly, I think I would be way more adventurous, probably having way more sex and having bodily fluids everywhere if I didn't have to clean up afterwards.
Yowza. Okay. Where do we even begin?
Yeah.
Okay, just go.
Yeah. So I think mine is related to having someone clean up after us, but also being a part of it as well. But like,
Give it to me. I have no idea where you're going with this.
I tend to think a lot, even in the moment, of course, while having sex, of just like, oh gosh, okay, I'm going to have to like clean this up afterwards. Like if we're like squirting everywhere, I'm gonna have to go
What?
clean my comforter. Like I'm just anyway, just and thinking of
Squirting
this
everywhere. You or him?
and the sweat, like him coming. Usually it's in my mouth, but that's
Well,
honest.
you know the situation in my apartment with the cum puddles
Yes,
everywhere.
yes.
And for curious listeners wants to know, last time I had a party, I full on had to go around the apartment and legit clean up the cum puddles. Multiple on the couch, maybe 5 or 6, almost every chair that we have here. Like
I'm a fairly hygienic person. And so I don't know. Like, yes, I like the like random little cum stain here and there.
Random.
Of course, I have fantasized about having someone come over to clean up our place mid like sex session, like plan it out, like that they happen
chambermaid?
to walk in potentially. But like that she's of course consenting already before this.
She is consenting. Okay.
She is consenting. Yes.
Whoa.
So yeah, me and my partner, we are good with another female coming in with
Okay.
us.
Even
So
just to clean.
to clean, but also like I fantasize
Serve.
about yes, cleaning and serving, but also like myself like telling my partner to be like call her in, have her be with us, and also like we're both thanking her in a sexual way for like what she's provided for us. And
With
yeah,
cleaning.
with the cleaning. Yes.
Oh my God. This is so specific and so awesome and also completely doable. If, you know, not all sexual fantasies are meant to be acted out, but if this was one you really wanted to do, woo,
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Like the caretaker aspect of that too. Like I'm a caretaker, so I just feel like it would feel so good of like her doing this thing for us and then we also provide for her.
Oh, this is
Like,
hot.
yeah.
Wow. I'm so impressed. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what you were going to be bringing to the table today.
I guess that's not a common fantasy. I don't know. In my head, it was like,
mean,
oh,
you know what?
the
What is
maid.
normal? What is not? It's, I mean, wow. Non-monogamy or threesomes, group sex, you know, is one of the more common ones. But this just takes it to a whole new level. Would it be someone you know? Would it be somebody who you kind of recruited? Is it a topless maid? I've actually wanted to start a topless housekeeping service since I was living in Australia. And I think that it's a really good idea. Hard to get off the ground in America. But yeah, so
Well, yeah,
it
no.
sounds like you're saying it might not be someone who you know very personally.
No, my partner and I have talked about this of just like it wouldn't be someone that we know. For me, that's not necessarily like I don't get hung up on that. Like I've been with friends, I've, you know,
Hi.
been yes. And sorry, I was just having my own little fantasy again right there. I was thinking back, reliving the day. Should I wear the same outfit? No.
Oh.
No, but yeah, I think it would be out of respect for my partner, and not that it's even a big deal in my head, because I feel like I've still had flourishing friendships past people that I've been intimate with. Like, you know, I can have both, but for him, it's where he's new to it and he's not experienced with it. Yeah, I think definitely it would be a stranger or potentially someone that is in sex work maybe already
Awesome.
that I would be
Let's figure it out.
interested in. Yeah.
Very cool. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting turned on by Kelsey's turn on. I have masturbatory fantasies. What do you like about like walking in on him jerking off?
Yeah.
That's something that gets me really hot. And then I don't know where you stand as far as fantasies, like otherworldly fantasies or things that are not like directly related to the day to day. I have one last one to share. And so
You got
I
to clear
have
that
this
throat
picture-
from all that oral, you know?
Not today, actually. As far as things that are a little more fantastical, I have had this fantasy for a while where it's like not in my house, not even really in a place that I can even conceptualize, but it's dark. There's lots and lots and lots of plants. It's not actually in the rainforest, it's inside, but it's just this beautifully set up space. Like I said, lots and lots and lots of plants, lots and lots and lots of flowers. Anyone who wants to get me in a good mood to talk or do any of this, just send flowers my way. Like really low lighting, maybe like mossiness. And then in the middle of the room is the bed is just like flat on the floor. So, you know, like a mattress with lots of fabrics and really lovely, everything's very luscious. And like I said, it's almost like I'm in the middle of like a fantasy rainforest, I suppose. Very nymph emphasis or like feel to it. And then yeah, in the middle of the room, and it's like all been set up for me. And then I get there and also and like a canopy. I really love canopies on beds. And so there would be this canopy above the bed, just this really, really succulent energy to the whole thing. Very, very, very sensual. And there's mead involved. So everyone knows I'm like my wine, but in this situation or in this scenario, there's mead because I always associated mead with fairies for whatever reason. And
the honey.
So,
the
well,
bees.
so I went to the first Shakespearean festival I went to. They were tying fairies things with mead. Like they were selling mead. Everyone was dressed as fairies.
Yeah. That's a thing. Yeah. Renaissance festivals, right? That they have the mead. Yeah.
And yes, and I'm wearing something flowy and it's in the middle of the room and I have a glass of mead there presented to me. And then, yes, the sex is in this case slow and gentle and long and kind of flowing over the course of the night. And yeah, I guess maybe it's more about the environment than anything, but this is just something that I've had in my mind like for such a long time as far as the perfect environment for a sexy night or a fantasy, like closing my eyes and thinking like what would be the best environment for a perfect sexual experience. This is what I think of.
Yeah. What sounds do you hear?
Oh, that's such a good question. So either nothing or I actually, in prep for this episode, I immediately open up to the cum stain here. In prep for this episode, getting in the mood, I do have a fairy music, fantasy music playlist on Spotify that I put on here and there, especially in the morning, sometimes when he comes over or sometimes when I'm working. So something instrumental, slightly ambient, but really, really low kind of in the background.
Right.
Thank you. That's a beautiful question.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, I don't know. I'm just a very visual person. So I'm like visualizing this and even in my voice, I'm like even bringing my voice down to like match the environment.
Yeah, too. I feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
I see like some little lightning bugs almost, like
Oh,
twinkling.
totally. Yes, exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Protection. Mhm.
Yeah. And just a swing, like we're not talking about like a bed swing or whatever situation, but
I
like
really used one of those.
something that does kind of sway.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm just picturing that almost like a, hammock that's like in between trees and the
Oh,
blowing
yes.
breeze.
Like, oh, yeah, totally. Like an adult tree house, as I was telling you and Trey and Chris
Mhm.
when we were on our trip, is also one of my kind of bucket list things. But maybe this could be in conjunction with the adult tree house. And
Yeah.
have you seen the movie Hook with
Yes.
Julia Roberts? You know how a lot of their beds were kind of like wooden hammocks that were just like swinging from these trees
Yeah.
out there in the lushness? Maybe
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like living in that moment with you right now.
Mhm. I have thought about
I
this
love
a
that.
lot, a lot.
I'm just
Kelsey.
such in the moment right now with this idea. Like, I'm like, I don't want to come off aggressive. I don't want to go from like, I don't know, this
Oh,
is
no.
nerdy, but like Jedi to Darth Vader here. Like,
Tell us. Tell us your fantasy. One is not better than the other. I've been consistently turned on this entire episode. So no, lay it on me. Lay it on me.
yeah. So I don't know. I have a couple things that are coming to mind
Ooh.
right now. I used to be with a pharmacist actually, and I used to
Okay.
fantasize all the time. Like by closing my eyes, I would just picture him all the time at his desk, like in the pharmacy,
Sexy.
like filling up prescriptions in his
Yes.
lab coat sort of thing. Like that
Very
definitely
hot.
was my fantasy, which is very, yeah, very hot. But just like showing that different dynamic too of just like where I'm at now in my life and how like fantasies can change over time. Anyway, I'm just leading to like how things evolve with fantasies. And I always thought of that as like a sexy fantasy. So like I feel like my head always goes to that though still, like with the career that my partner's in. Like I always, or not always, but I tend to put my head there in that work environment with them. He's an electrician and yeah, I mean, I've definitely had fantasies
That's
about,
a kink. Blue
yeah,
collar workers. Mhm.
yeah, I've definitely had fantasies of sweat and him screwing in a light bulb and dirty
can do a little bit more than that,
hands and like just like I don't know, doing like a little light bulb above us and like
Mhm.
illuminating our faces with each other in like a dark space and anyway. I'm also getting excited and I'm sitting under a candle, so I'm even more
I don't
hot.
think I'm gonna see my man tonight. You at least get to get some relief. I'll give myself some relief, but oh my god, what
Yes.
better foreplay can there be than talking with your friend about your sexual fantasies? I want to
Yeah.
be like, get over here. I don't care what your fucking plans are. I don't care what your project is that you're doing tonight. You need to get on that motorcycle and come over and rally. I think environment played a role in some way in every fantasy. We talked about Victorian clothing. We talked about you on the frontier. We talked about me in the castle, the hotel rooms, the Haight and Ashbury. We, yes, talked about the fairy forest. We talked about exhibitionism, where there's people around us where we know but we don't know. One last thing is that I also have a shibari fantasy that has to do with my current partner that I would like to have realized this year.
I love
Kelsey,
that.
this has been a lot of fun. How are you feeling? I'm revved up and ready to go.
Yeah, I'm feeling so in my body right now, and that feels good.
Same. That is a really
Yeah.
good point. I am as well. Yeah, I feel energized definitely in my body. I feel very thankful for my partner. I feel thankful for myself that I'm able to feel into these things, talk about them publicly. I feel thankful that I've manifested a friend who is just as open as I am. I'm thankful for your partner as well, who's brought out a lot of these things in you recently.
Yeah. I don't know. I would just like to encourage people to, say what's on their minds, because sometimes you can surprise people too, to be like, holy hell, that sounds magical, or like if you're in like a rut in your relationship too, like, and you're feeling like, oh, this is just gonna sound silly to them or so conventional or something, and
Or not.
or yeah,
And
or
also
not.
keep reminding yourself, not everything has to be played out, but sharing it can be in and of itself a huge, 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 huge turn on. Role
Definitely.
playing it can be a huge turn on. Talking about it whilst you're in the throes of lovemaking can be really hot. Sharing that you're having these thoughts with your partner doesn't mean anyone's under any obligation to do it. It can just be, something sexy that you talk about that can turn you on.
Definitely.
And some of them you might want to end up acting out, which is cool as well. One is not better than the other. And you know what? Also, some sexual fantasies you want to keep to yourself for various reasons, and that's okay too. Please remember, foreplay is not just about kissing and boob touching right before you have penetrative sex. Foreplay can be everything that happens between the last time you have sex and the next time you have sex. Whether it be a sweet message, whether it be some porn like I do, whether it be sexy selfies, whether it be saying, oh, I just had this fantasy, or I just have this thought about this space, or, oh, I'd really love to be railed against a hotel window like this, or going on Reddit. Somebody shared a picture of this thing. I am into shibari. Maybe sending a photo of, oh, I would love you to tie me up like this. Maybe sending a voice memo. The other day, I actually was thinking about catching him in the act of jerking off, and I was really early in the morning, and I was trying to get back to sleep, and that's just what popped into my head. And oh man, it got me going. I used my toy, and right before I fell back to sleep, I sent him a voice memo, and I said, I'm going back to sleep now, and I had just used my womanizer, and it was amazing, and I was picturing myself walking by a bedroom and seeing you jerk off, and it just like turned me on so much. And I just I grabbed my toy and used it, and I was like, oh, and it was really hot, and I'm going back to sleep now. And little things like that. And maybe that's more advanced, possibly. Send your partner a message, say you're thinking about them, say you can't wait to kiss them again, say I had this thought that might sound kind of juicy, say I wish I was a fairy getting fucked by my fairy prince. Anything, just keep it going. And also, don't deny these things. These are a part of you. And like I said, I have a lot of single listeners, so I should definitely say sexual fantasies just as useful for single people as partnered people.
Your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions are just as important as the person receiving them.
Yep. And there's lots of things that you can do. I mean, have a sexual fantasy and then use your womanizer and go to town. All right. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for being here and sharing. You shared a lot today. So in sex-related injuries, you didn't have any stories that you shared. And sex in the outdoors, you were also mostly the peanut gallery. So you shared a lot. And let's see what we can do to convince our partners to come on. And the four of us have a round table. That would be so much fun. All right. Well, thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you to all of my Sex and the Solo Girl listeners. Things are really, really, really starting to take off, which is awesome. If you are loving the podcast, go over to janiceformichella.com. Join my Patreon. I would really be thankful. Or just go on Apple Podcasts and tell me that you think podcast is awesome. And if you don't think it's awesome, keep it to yourself. All right. I will see you soon, Kelsey. Bye, everyone.
See you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to Sex and the Solo Girl with Janice Formichella, the podcast for those who want to add more flavor to their relationships with themselves and others. If you liked today's episode, make sure to head over to Instagram and let her know. See you next week.